Bill Gates said, "I will always choose a lazy person to do a difficult job because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it." What's a real life example of this? The clerk was asked to bring 145 white papers into the office. He doesn't want to count the papers manually, so he printed 145 blank sheets and took them in. I was an intern at a large company during one summer back home from college. My work 95% consisted of using SAP, import to Excel, clean data and generate reports, occasionally create some tool someone needed. In the first 2 weeks after getting a hang of my responsibilities, writing all the Excel formulas needed, and basically automating 99% of my work, I was chilling. I went from actually working from 9-5 to maybe 1 hour tops a day. Finding, importing, cleaning, and reporting usually took hours, but with all the formulas it took 2 minutes of clicking. I then helped the other cool intern get his poop set up so we could both just chill. We could take 2-hour lunches, paid for by the company, and nobody said anything cause we were just getting so much more done than the other interns. OFC, I helped for special tasks when asked, but those were simple 20-minute tasks building something in Excel. Overall, was the easiest stress-less internship of my life. I was working as a stock boy in a supermarket, and when we had to fill the milk cooler, people would bust open a 12-pack of milk cartons and put them in one by one. On my first day I just placed the 12-pack in the cooler and cut the plastic off on one side with my box cutter and yanked it from under it, and the look of the store manager and the other employee who was training me was pure bewilderment. From that day everyone did it my way. When Carl Friedrich Gauss, the famous German mathematician and physicist, was in elementary school, around 1784. His class was assigned the busy work task of adding all the numbers from 1 to 100, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, and so on. This usually kept the class quiet for half an hour or so. 7-year-old Carl was sitting quietly with the correct answer, 5050, while the rest of the class was just starting. So the surprised teacher asked him how he came up with the solution. He replied that he added 1 and 100 and got 101. Then he added 2 and 99 and got 101. 3 plus 98 equals 101. And so on. He realized there was a pattern of 50 pairs of numbers with each pair adding up to 101. And 50x 101 equals 5050. It took me like 3 months. But I automated a data pipeline to extract data, clean it up, and spit it out in an Excel or PDF format to one of our clients. I walked over to shoot the poop with the lady who handles my client and gives me tasks, and she told me we make 40k off them every month for that automated job. Fuck. I need to go start my own business. I had a math teacher that actively encouraged his students to be as lazy as possible. Defining lazy as actively searching for ways to do as minimal work as possible. His logic was that, the way math is now, it could always be simplified and still work the same. Someone just needs to be lazy enough to find that. I plug clocks in at midnight so they're already set. I worked goods in for an aircraft manufacturer as a summer job at university. Parts would arrive. We'd open them and key in all the details into a terminal. That bit was long-winded. I discovered the terminal keyboard has assignable shortcuts, and set up a bunch of them for all the boilerplate such that keying in an item was about 6 keystrokes. Saved myself and my workmate hours every day, which we would spend pranking each other, other warehouse staff and staff at other sites. An older company had a person dedicated to data entry, which boiled down to copying and pasting portions of data from text files into spreadsheet and formatting into a report. The person originally doing this job spent a full 40+ hours a week doing it, but was not very computer literate. When they retired, the company hired someone with actual skills. The new hire convinced management to let her work remotely after getting up to speed on the job. The first week at home was spent automating the entire job. The remainder of their multi-year tenure with the company was spent doing whatever they wanted save the 10-15 minutes weekly to run their program and to answer the odd email here and there. All while getting paid full salary and benefits. They actually had to add in a few errors now and then to make it seem realistic. Eating dinner out of the pot so there's fewer dishes to wash. Walkie-talkies. In every job I've ever had, these things make your day far less labor intensive if used correctly. I was invited to my friend's yearly apple picking. It was a full day of apples and kids and filling a truck for cider. I'm lazy and suggested we make the process more efficient with tarps on the ground. We managed in 2 hours what historically took all day. We didn't even get to the picnic lunch. Essentially, I ruined apple picking. I'm asking a man with one leg. Course he definitely knows the easiest way to get there. Yup. If there's a shortcut, that one-legged fricka knows where it is. You won't be hopping fences neither. At work, I go through parts and apply 2 different kinds of tape and 2 different kinds of weave. I have finally got the rhythm down and now I do each part individually. And apply everything at once. Everyone else goes through an entire order. Just applying tape. Then goes through it again to do the weave. I ask to use the big table in the back of the shop. And just put all the tape and weave tools there. And do the parts all at once. Normal rate for an 8-hour shift is 1,200. But I can manage 1,800 in a day. Going at a nice steady pace. Edit. I can get 1,800 going at a steady pace. I've done it before. But I usually don't. Most days I go slow and relax. Purposely only making 1300, 1350 or so parts. It's just enough over rate to get my incentive bonus. And thanks to being a hard and fast worker, the uppers leave me alone at my big table in the back. They look the other way when I have an earbud in one ear. And they don't notice that I scroll Reddit or read a lot. Edit. I can't say what products we make. They are too recognizable and googling it would reveal where I work and live. Back in high school, a lot of kids used to walk through his park to get home to school. A portion of the path went into the woods because it was just quicker than walking the actual trail. At one point in the walk through the woods, you had to go up this small but tedious hill. Nothing major, but it took like 10 seconds of hard work to go up it. You couldn't go around because one side was a small cliff to the creek below and other side had dense trees. One summer, a bunch of us got together and decided to just dig through that hill to make it flat. It took like 14 of us 3 good days to get through it. It was a hard 3 days, but it was definitely worth it. Saved 10 seconds of hill climbing every morning and afternoon. 150 plus days of the year. And it wasn't just us, but hundreds of other kids who took the same party every day. Sometimes you need to put in a lot of work so your future selves can enjoy the easy way out. When I was in college, I had a job at an Italian fast food place with a reputation for its breadsticks. They came in frozen and needed a bit to thaw. So we'd take a giant 3x4 foot aluminum baking sheet, spread them out in a single layer with no spaces and cover it with a plastic bag. Then leave it sit in the walk-in overnight. The next day you'd have to get a pair of tongs and move each stick to a new tray, turning them over. Then cover the new tray with the bag and let them sit on racks for a couple of hours before brushing on the garlic butter sauce. This was tedious enough that you'd usually be ready to brush the butter on the first tray as soon as you turned the last tray. I was given this task for the first time one morning and just did not want to deal with it. I realized if I put the second tray upside down on top of the first one, then turned it over and took the first tray out, I got exactly the same results. Blew the boss's mind when I did the 3-hour job in about 15 minutes. I was given a $0.05/hour raise. I have a massive exercise to do at our year-end accountancy. My work previously got checked by another manager who spent over 3 weeks going over the data. Eventually she got shifted to another department and that workload fell on me. Basically self-audit and then present the data to the actual auditors. My previous manager was absolutely poop at Excel. I didn't let on, but I did all the audit on a separate file using simple, but out of the way, formulas. Not only did I reduce the task from 3 weeks to basically real-time checks, no time, but when I was told that I have to perform that exercise every month, my job became a doddle. I didn't let on that everything was automated by SUMIFs. Indexing. Max values and range checks. Living the dream. Sorry if I rambled on. I got hired at a Foot Locker many years ago. They used to break down all these cardboard boxes all day and make multiple trips to the dumpster. My first day I just kept the first box whole and broke down the rest and put them in the whole box and dragged the full whole box out at the end. Me. I automate poop all the time at work to make daily routine jobs more easy. I write manuals with screenshots with arrows indicating where to click or where to fill in what. Whenever I write a manual, I assume that whoever reads it is a complete idiot so that whenever customers call for the same questions again, I just send them to the online manual I created. No need to type it out again by email or explain it again by phone. Does Alexander and the Gordian knot count? A complex knot that, according to prophecy, was to be undone only by the person who was to rule Asia. And that was cut, rather than untied, by Alexander the Great. My brother-in-law spent a whole summer trying to figure out how to fix his sagging deck at the lake, which he could in theory crawl under and jack it up. It would have been a tunneling project. It's a 60x60 area all long 2x6 boards. Massive. I sat there long enough with enough beers in me to come up with the idea of just cutting a square out of the sagging area about 3 feet x 3 feet. Jacking it up, then re-screwing down the boards. He paints the thing every spring with a roller anyhow, so it's not like the square cut shows up. He thought I was a genius. I was just lazy. The entire miscellaneous kitchen tools section at bed, bath, and beyond. I don't need an avocado slicer or a lemon squeezer or an automatic chopper dicer. But lazy old me definitely puts them to good use. I knew a guy who had a low-level data reporting job. He had several daily weekly work responsibilities, including a bunch of reports that needed quite a bit of tweaking from raw data to finished product. But like I said, low level. We didn't find out until way later. But he had set up macros for each of his major responsibilities where he could. Once set up, he'd just run the macros to do his work. But then he'd, smartly, hold off on delivering the reports until just a little before the deadlines. He'd hit every assignment and was seen as reliable. He also would complain about the workload so people would leave him with that work. I doubt he did a full hour of work a day after he set up what he did. Eventually he left the job for one with better pay. But damn did he work lazy. Also, he was smart not to reveal until the end. Because had he told them about it, he would have gotten a pat on the back and would have been given a whole other workload. On top of maintaining those macros etc. Dude milked the job. Not the other way around. Years ago as a student I got a job stocking shelves. Guys were carrying the heavy boxes. Put them on the floor and bend each time to pick up the items to put on the shelves. I was maybe a light 100 pounds woman, and carrying the boxes was just killing me physically. So one day I had an idea. I put the box on a rolled desk chair and rolled it around. No more carrying and no more bending. Funny thing is that, instead of doing the same thing, most of the guys called me lazy and kept carrying the heavy boxes. Just to prove how strong they were. Now they had special rolling carts to do the job. I had to carry groceries into the house when I was a kid. I didn't want to make multiple trips. So I tied several bags to the belt loops on my pants to do it in one trip. Well, I worked in a graphics design studio as an intern. They mostly had me practice and do some basic stuff their head designers was too busy to do. One was a real estate ad. It had a few basic templates, but it was all kinds of scatterbrained. I would spend 5-10 minutes trying to find the right layer for all the pictures, and had to mess with way too much. So I made copies of the files and made one for each template. I labeled everything. Made it so the images on top of each other wouldn't clip into the lower ones like the previous did. So on. You could be in and out of the template in 2-3 minutes. Showed my boss the difference. And he had this face of well poop. He said the next day that if I was a graduate he'd hire me. Because I was better than the people sending applications in. In short, I made an overly complicated, unorganized thing the opposite. And my boss was actually sad he couldn't hire me.
Hi there. Look, if you enjoyed the video, well, why not go ahead and hit that like and subscribe to Reddit Stories. In fact, if you want to see even more responses to this thread, well then, take a look. There's the link in the description below. And remember, show some love to those authors while you're there. And I look forward to seeing you next time.